The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
To honor America, please stand for our national anthem. And they're off. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to beautiful Belmont Park, and it's another delightful day here in the Big Apple. Sunny skies, the temperature will be in the 70s. Main track is fast, the turf courses are firm. Puttable rails up at 27 feet on both the Widener and the Inner. And there's a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of $96,187. And here now today's changes. In the first race, these horses will carry 2 pounds over, numbers 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, and 9. In the second race, scratch number 8, Exceed the Goal. Scratch the 8, Exceed the Goal. There are no changes in the third. In today's fourth race, these horses will carry 2 pounds over, numbers 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 10, and 11. Number 12, Roma Carpe, is 4 pounds over. Scratch the also eligibles, 13, 14, and 15. Scratch 13, 14, and 15 out of the fourth. Race 5 will begin the Empire 6, and a rider change on number 13, Mucha Muchacha, to John Bissono. John Bissono rides the 13, Mucha Muchacha. In today's sixth race, scratch 1 Bad Guy, 1A, Mr. Short and Simple, and scratch the 10, American Rule. Scratch 1, 1A, and 10 out of the sixth. In today's seventh race, all horses will carry 2 pounds over with the exception of number 6. And please note that number 6, Striking Causeway, will run with blinkers off. Blinkers off the 6. Note that number 7, Ratchet, is a gelding. And scratch the also eligibles 13 Sanctuary City through the 16 Stash My Money. Scratch 13, 14, 15, and 16 from the 7th. No changes in the 8th. The 9th race is the Mike Lee Stakes. And note that numbers 1, 3, 5, and 8 will carry 2 pounds over. 10th race here at Belmont. Scratch the 13 BB Banker. Scratch number 13. A rider change on the 6 Albie to Jose Lascano. Jose Lascano rides the 6 Albie. And note that number 1 Reckless Spirit is 2 pounds over. We're fast and firm with an Empire 6 jackpot carryover of more than $96,000. We'll be back at 12:45 to recap the changes. First race post is at 1:15. Coming up next, Serling and Stabile, talking horses. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an additional scratch to report in the second race. In race 2, you can now scratch number 10, Miss Jack. Second race, scratch the 10, Miss Jack.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. He's the Big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. Welcome to another beautiful day here at Belmont Park. Anthony, how you doing? Nice winner yesterday, the 7th race.
Thanks.
Excellent slate. What price was that horse?
8th race.
8th race.
She got bet all the way down to 5-1.
Well, she won like she should have been shorter.
Yeah.
Tough trip for the third horse in there.
Waylon Josie. Yes. Yes, Waylon Josie at a big price, 14-1. Yeah, but Bruce's
nice
filly got home, and
nice for Roddy. He had kind of had a tough luck beat earlier in the week. Didn't have to be a beat, so that was nice for him to get.
It all went for naught.
Yeah, well,
it all went for naught, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it earlier. I know you agree with me, but point of honor, it was an inexcusable loss for her. She had every chance to win, and congratulations, she's a Julie and her connections for getting the job done. Shipping here, Ollie's Candy ran another sensational race and just couldn't quite get it at the end, and they heated up down the backstretch.
It was the reverse Big A rule yesterday. The last person I saw when I walked out of here was Ricardo Santana Jr. walking in.
Did he realize what a big moment that was for him to see you on the way out of Belmont?
He said hello.
Probably was bigger than winning the stake, was seeing you on the way out.
I asked him one question. I said, what do you think of Volatile? And he said, he's as good as Matoli.
Well, that's ridiculous because, that's...
He rode both of them, man. Listen, I don't get on him.
Anthony, nobody has a shorter memory than jockeys for the best horse they've ever ridden. And Volatile is an extremely promising horse. But I'm going to tell you something.
He's faster than Matoli was at this point in his career.
Anthony, Volatile is an extremely promising horse. Matoli could have been horse of the year last year.
No question.
I don't want to hear any of this Volatile's better than Matoli crap.
Okay.
Because he's going to have to accomplish what Matoli did. I mean, he may end up being a talent that's worthy of discussion. And I understand the comparisons. It's a Steve Asmussen horse. I get all those. But Matoli went out and did it in the racetrack in a very, 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 very big way, winning 4 Grade 1s last year, including the best race, arguably of the year, the Met Mile, and the Breeders' Cup Sprint, as well as the Forego, as well as the Churchdown's Handicap. Volatile has now won one minor graded race.
Yeah.
So I understand he's a talent.
I didn't say it.
No, I know. But I just annoys me, the best horse I've ever ridden, and it forgets these monsters of the past. You know?
No, he said he said as good. He didn't say better. He said as good.
Right now, he's not.
I'd be very. You know what? I would love to see him in the Met Mile.
Now, I think Steve Asmussen is right to be pointing him for the Vanderbilt, not the Met Mile. You know, when Matoli went to the Met, he had already had, the Churchill Downs race. And don't forget, after that, it was a 2-month break between the Met Mile and the Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
It's not this year.
It's not this year.
1 month. That's the Grade 1 they should be pointing to. And I actually agree. As much as you'd like to see him in the Met Mile, I actually think in this particular case, Steve is doing the right. He's going to squeeze that lemon awfully dry, awfully early. And obviously a horse that really must have some issues to have taken this long to get his races. And I think he's a wonderful racehorse, but I'm a big Matoli fan, and I get annoyed when I got to hear that
When
stuff.
he said it, I was a little surprised.
Yeah, stop it, Ricardo. Stop it. Now I'm annoyed at Ricardo, and I like him. Anyway, race number 1 on today's card. Well, Bill Mott, I don't want to say it, Bill. I'm not going to say it, Bill. I'm not going to be that guy. He has the favorite in this race in Road Home, who there was no chance the Big A wasn't going to pick.
What were the odds that I wasn't picking the 6 or the 7 in here? What were the odds?
By the way, they are the 2 horses to beat. Road Home. I'm a little sick of Road Home, but he is the horse to beat.
Yeah. I don't think I could agree more, and I did pick him on top. He's taking the big drop finally. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of another one where, he's all the way in for the 30. There were no stops at 60 or 50. He's in for 30,000 today.
Bill just wants to get it over with. He's so sick of hearing
I just think you want to get this horse out of his maiden ranks and
what's he going to do? He's not going to win a maiden race.
Yeah. He's not going to win the special weight race. He's proven that.
Judicial restraint, Chad Brown, for what it's worth, maiden claimer to maiden special maiden claimer on the dirt. He is 10 for 33. The ROI is $1.65, but I don't really care with the ROI as much in this case because this one wasn't going to be favored. Judicial restraint did some running at the end. I just picked this horse as the alternative. They are the 2. Though I think the 3 Ghost on a Mission has a little bit of a chance in here. Unlike my friend on Twitter that insisted to me he should be 2-1 and he was the horse to beat.
With the other 2 in the race, yeah. This is a little bit of a kitchen sink, too. The drop, back to the dirt, fresh gelding, blinkers come off. Jimmy Jerkins gave this horse almost 2 months, right? The horse ran on April 18th, so gelded 2 months. I like to see a little bit a little bit of time. And recently, we've seen plenty of horses, especially in South Florida. I saw a horse this winter, Andy, get gelded on a Wednesday and run back on the following Friday. 9 days later, the horse ran second.
Are you sure of that?
I'm positive.
It was a
lower level claimer. I called down to the racing office to check. So, unless there was something that was missed,
that's
9 days.
Anyway,
I know.
You just had to have the 9 in there because you have to have every Michelle Nevin starter somewhere in the top 4.
Well, I don't know. I mean, are we so sure that Ghost on a Mission's any kind of a horse?
Yeah,
who else do you really want here?
I'll take the 3 over the 9. You want to bet his lunch?
Yeah, let's do a lunch on that. I'll take a lunch on that, sure.
3 over 9.
There you go. I'll even provide the pen for you.
I got a pen. Get your pen out of here. Cooties away from me.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. It's a fresh pen, actually.
But why is it every day during the show at some point it starts buzzing in our ears? You notice that? I think
I believe they're getting ready for America's Day at the Races.
3 better than 9.
Which starts at 1 p.m. on MSG Plus today.
Okay, we're at 45, by the way, in case you're keeping track at home.
They're keeping track out there.
Race number 2. Where'd you go in race number 2?
I went with my man Gary Gullo in Radiant Rhythm.
I'm going to say that we'll take a look at the race that 3 of these come out of: Cold Hearted Pearl, Radiant Rhythm, and Keep Your Distance. Keep Your Distance.
Yeah,
Wow.
Keep Your Distance.
Radiant Rhythm runs back to this race. She's going to be very tough to beat because she did get completely stayed out. Not only that, this was a day where the rail was very, very much the place to be. And both the first and third place finishers pretty much rode the rail almost the whole way. Now, Radiant Rhythm, I think, drifted a little, not really, Cold Hearted Pearl drifted off of the rail into the stretch. But Radiant Rhythm did run the best race of anybody by far, and she's the horse to beat.
Yeah, she's trying to run these horses down here. She ran well this day, in for the waiver, because this is what Gary took her for. Seen about a 4-month break here now. Gary's horses have all come back, and for the most part have run well. He's won a couple of races off the break. Again, this filly runs out of real estate.
A couple of them have run well.
Yeah, a couple of them
have run poorly.
You know, the ones that have
run well have run well.
The ones that have been expected to run well have run well.
No, that's not true. That's not true, because I bet that one that took money in the slop that day and didn't run well at all.
Maybe the horse didn't like the slop.
Horse ran 5th. The horse liked the slop just fine.
Okay.
I took Friend of Liberty in here as the other horse. You know, I just thought maybe Linda claimed this horse on the drop down, and Friend of Liberty is a horse that has back races that would smother this field. And I'm going to try to hope that Linda gets back. I feel confident that Radiant Rhythm is the right one of the horses out of that race, but I thought I'd go in a slightly different direction and hope that Linda could get Friend of Liberty back to her better races. No doubt her form had dissipated before her easy win last time against much lesser, but I'm going to hope that Linda can get this one back up a little bit. It's not as though her last race is that much worse than who she's running against today.
No, she makes a lot of sense in here. Louis Saez back off of a couple of suspensions. Louis back full time now. Distinctive Lady is the one that I
yeah, what'd you like about her?
Well, I'm hoping she can get in front of these horses. I think she's faster than the one Cold Hearted Pearl.
She's not.
Okay. I think she's faster than Keep Your Distance.
Okay, so another lunch. I'll take that the 3 will be ahead of the 1 and 5. At least one of them. He will not be in front. The 3.
Okay. I'll take a lunch on that.
3 not in front. 1 lunch. Okay. I thought you had a big thing about not liking horses that won at 5.5 furlongs.
Oh, I'm going a mile and a 16th. I don't, but I think this horse is going to get loose. And I think getting in front here, and again, I'm not picking her on top, but I think that if she can get in front of these horses, maybe she can keep going.
Okay.
Radiant Rhythm or Friend of Liberty is supposed to win, but I wanted the speed to try and maybe split them.
Okay, so do you like the 1 or 5 as your alternatives, the possible speeds?
No, I said I like the 2, 3,
you like the horse that's not the speed. You think it's the
speed. We'll see. Alondra was in front.
Anthony.
That's the only argument we've had so far, and Alondra was in front.
I'm sorry, the only argument we've had on paces in front? I'm up by about 50 lunches on pace or bets with you, please. Please.
Anything before the yards of March doesn't count.
Except for the lunches. That's the only thing that counts. Race number 3. I thought race number 3 was a very, very fun race. There's an awful lot going on in here in honor of Anthony, knowing he would pick Chad Brown and Linny. Kate will show her. I'm not sure what to do with her. She didn't get the best pick. I think there's an awful lot of horses that can win this race, Anthony, and she's one of them.
Yeah, I think she ran really, really well last time out. And it's not going to look it doesn't appear that way when you watch this replay. It looks kind of in the replay like she was life and death to get there.
So why did she run really well
I think she ran really well for the simple fact that she broke from an outside post. She didn't get a ton of pace to run at first time out. She got position, but she broke from the outside post. She was wide on the turn. Say that again.
She wasn't that wide in the turn. She was too wide in the first turn. She wasn't wide in the turn.
I don't know. I thought she ran.
She wasn't wide in the first turn.
I'll tell you the other thing too. I feel like Irad kept after her. And Irad's on suspension, so Javier Castellano's going to pick up the call today. I feel like Irad kept after her because I think this filly's going to want even more ground than the mile. Now, she gets a smidge more today at a mile and a 16th, but I think the more ground for her is going to be the better. I really liked her debut, and I felt like off the debut, the rest of these were going to have to step up to beat her today.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't agree with that at all. I think she's one of the horses that can win this race. I respect Chad Brown's horses moving forward off maiden wins, but I don't know if her debut was just okay, but I disagree with you. I think she got an unbelievably great ride. You know, those wide comments and the short comments are very deceptive because she was too wide in the first turn, 3 wide, but 2 wide for the majority of the turn, and then 2 wide on the rail in the second turn before Irad angled her out. So she actually saved a lot of ground in that race. As far as Lashara, if you want a horse that had a bit of a wide trip in there, I think she may be the one you want more. We'll take a look at her winning at Gulfstream, and she's my top choice. I like this effort because I felt like Luis Saez, to him, he's thinking, what I need to not do is lose here. Because she was like 2 wide in the first turn, but she broke a little bit slowly and was sort of taken a hold of. But then he took her out in the clear on the backstretch 4 wide, and he continued on a legitimate 4 wide onto the turn. And she ran down the leader, but I felt like Luis was always thinking, I'm riding the best horse. I know they like this horse. She got bet off the board. I think she was 8-1.
She got smashed.
Well, she was. Yeah. She shouldn't
have been what she was on the morning line, but she got
2 or 4-1. She was a big pedigree horse. But I felt like Luis rode her knowing she was supposed to win and thinking, I can't get in trouble. I just got to stay out of trouble, and I'm going to win this race. And now she's on the, I would prefer it was the Widener, but it is the inner, and it's a fairer situation. I liked her last race. I prefer the one, but listen, you've got Cat's Pajamas. I don't like the field that Cat's Pajamas beat the 5 because the heavily favored firster for Chad Brown did no running in there, and after that it was a weak field. The horse you have second, I have third. I'll let you talk about her. I think she is a big-time player here.
I think she makes a lot of sense. Yeah. She did not have the cleanest stretch run in her debut. She ran against Alms and Moral Reasoning coming back. Then she broke her maiden very, very nicely right here at Belmont Park. Throw out the dirt race. She's first-time Lasix. Kristoff's horses have all been running well. I think she makes a lot of sense, and I think
absolutely win.
She's going to be the horse that gets lost in the shuffle here on the top board, I think.
It's possible.
I think they're going to bet the Cassie horse that you like. I think Chad's horse will be 8-5.
I'm not sure. I think Chad will be because Chad Brown horses are always favored.
She's very, very dangerous.
Shug's horse is okay on the outside. She won first time out. It's not like Shug wins a lot of races first time out. She showed more speed than his horses usually show.
And I'm going to tell you what, I was covering that race on radio. She won very, very easily first time out. Now it's Tampa.
I didn't. It was a lot of mostly first time starters. And it has the look of a weak field.
The runners weren't that good, but she looked really, really good in doing so.
She's totally.
This is a good race.
This is a very, very competitive field.
This is a good race.
I completely agree. I think that all of these horses we've talked about have a legitimate chance.
Like a co-feature today. This is a really nice race.
So race number 4. This was a big dilemma. Race number 4 for the Big A. This kept him up at night, and he finally said, "No, I cannot possibly pick an ex-Belmont horse because if Bill finds out that I'm picking horses taken away from him, he may take away the card he's given me and I've worked so hard for." We will look at Ocean Fire, who has burned a lot of money and has had some very good trips in her races. This was a bad ride by Edgar Zayas because when you're riding a horse that's much the best, your job, as the Luis Saez thing talked about, is, dude, don't get yourself into a jackpot. Make sure you get out of trouble. And he didn't, and she would have won this race, but he just totally just.
She broke from the rail, but he had an hour to get outside.
To do something to get her out, and that's the thing. And I found this stat for John. This is a dramatic stat, and it just goes along with he's an ex-Belmont. How will Bill feel if this horse wins and he doesn't win any today? And it could have been his 5,000th win. You think
Bill will be just fine. Bill will be just fine. John Kimmel, the numbers aren't as flashy as some of his counterparts on this backstretch here at Belmont and up at Saratoga. But
this is a funny stat, though.
John Kimmel is one of the top horsemen and women we have here at Belmont. This stat's
but he's terrible off the chain or changes.
This is not a great stat.
This horse does lay over the field, though, Anthony.
Right, but how many chances
are
we going to give her? You know what I mean? You took one shot against her. I took one shot against her.
To be fair, her one time in a maiden claiming race.
She should have won.
That was a bad field.
She should have won.
That was a bad field. You've taken the first her. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, going to take Christoph again. His numbers, and again, I'm only using the PPs here I have in front of me.
No, he's very good with maiden. Maiden claiming first-time stars. He's 6 for 28, 21% with a 343 ROI.
And in the last year and a half,
but those
it's
are just first
4 for 10. So even more recent, 4 for 10. Yeah, her. I also going to use your horse, More Mango, who makes sense on the drop. More Mango to me is the
interesting horse down on the inside. So more than ready. You know, you watch the first race. I don't know. The horse was very green, was kind of sluggish.
They kind of missed it. They kind of missed it in the comment because she was just very. It was almost like if there was a horse that ever needed a race, she kind of needed a race.
I think what it was, at least to me, was that she resented being inside of horses. Now, this was no fault of Javier's. He was giving her a good ride. But when she finally got clear of horses in the stretch, she was really running at the end. Now, maybe she was just running in a bad field. I took her as the alternative. The 1, 4, and 5 are kind of the only ways you could go in this race, right? Unless you want the Terra Nova first-time starter, Matador Moon. Dam's 1 for 7 with turf. But frankly, the way John's horse has been running, I wouldn't just totally throw that horse out.
No, and Joel Rosario's been riding a lot more for John as of late. That's not something we saw often, but they won 2, right? Funny guy. The first or last weekend popped at a big price, so, yeah.
That was a good race by Funny Guy.
Yeah.
Forgot to look up the figs for yesterday's races in New York, actually. A little busy upstairs. Race number 5.
Belmont week.
Race number 5. Well, we'll take a look at Elegant Rose. And Bruce Levine has 2 in here. And I think it's an interesting discussion. This is Elegant Rose 2 back. If Elegant Rose runs her good race, she's a very likely winner of this race. I don't think there is any argument against that. And she is supposed to be the speed. Maybe it's just because he has 2 horses, but Elegant Rose, she can't run for the waiver.
She can't what?
She can't run for the waiver.
Correct, because she ran in star allowance
remembering
races.
Bobby can, and he's running both of these. I don't trust Elegant Rose in here. I put her 3rd. I put Remembering Bobby 2nd. What'd you do?
I put Elegant Rose on top, just hoping. You know, Romero Mirage, who's had a nice little return as well. He's riding well.
At Aqueduct when he was riding here this winter. He's aggressive. I like him as a rider.
And I think his best attribute is the fact that he is very, very good on a speed horse. She's going to put her in front today. Look, I don't know how far she's going to take them. There's some other horses in here that have some speed. I don't think anybody's as fast as her. See how far how far she can take them.
I just don't trust her.
Listen, I have no argument for that. Her
last race was atrocious.
I
know they were better horse, but they weren't really, and I just don't trust her. She's the horse to beat. I can't argue with that, but I don't trust her. I'm like, you got Queendom 2nd. Mm-hmm. You know, my feeling with Queendom was, I mean, she's in the mix with everybody else after the number 7 horse, Elegant Rose. So why wouldn't I put her on top? And I don't think Elegant Rose is going to be 7-2 in here.
Usually shorter.
I think she's going to be shorter.
I think this is going to be a weird race to bet. This is a weird betting race.
Well, I mean, I know Enough Love won last time. She beat a hopeless group last time. Even the figs make sense. No Remembering Bobby for you?
The famous 5th pick. I don't know what to do. You know.
Running some better horses.
Yeah.
Run some figures that make sense. I thought she made sense.
I think she may want a little bit more ground. 6.5, 7, maybe even a mile.
I don't.
You don't worry about stuff like that.
Well, I stick to reality. Oh, you got Eddie Barker in there. Was it like birth week for Eddie Barker? So you got to keep his horses in. How's she going to win?
I have a
Where's she going to finish if she runs her last race, Rousey?
Again, you don't trust the horse that you would consider the horse to beat me. Who am I supposed to? Who else? Who else am I supposed to? Do I want the 6?
The 10.
Chasing after.
Can I have the 10 over the 3 for a lunch? 10 over the 2. I mean, 10 over the 2.
Because I thought the race was dominated by the top 2 horses, the 7 and the 11,
I want the
maybe
10,
some 9.
The 10
no,
over
I'm
the 2.
not. I don't know. I don't have any opinion on a 4th horse in here. I'm going 3 deep. 7, 9, 11.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
I think that's it. I
no
mean,
10?
Enough Love's the right move, too.
I'm trying to convince you to use
I know
Remembering
you are.
Bobby
I
here.
don't like Remembering Bobby.
I really don't want you to miss that.
I like Robbie Falcone taking Enough Love, breaking the maiden for 40 and dropping in half.
Horses that could run it all.
I don't disagree, but at least he's doing the right thing.
Rousey beat Pendolino. And that was, and I bet Rousey that day. Pendolino went like that. You remember that race?
I called it.
That was really tragic.
I do remember that race.
Race number 6. Let me guess. Anthony likes Spirit Animal. Oh yeah. Okay. You know what's funny?
I scratched into this horse, but I picked Bad Guy. I wanted to bet Bad Guy for Rudy first time.
If you had handicapped Thursday's card like I did, you would have known he was scratching.
I didn't see Thursday.
Well, take a look at Spirit Animal. You know what's funny about Spirit Animal? I was thinking, I remember watching this race. You and I talked on the phone after the race. We were shocked he paid $8 against a better field. Now he's in for a tag. And I remember watching this in the old Sunny Gym room. It just seems so long ago, doesn't it? I remember thinking, this was 2018, right?
I was at the Borgata, and I forgot to bet. That's why I called you.
Didn't Shook's get totally bottled up, the gray, with Jose, I think, behind him?
Yep.
He got in trouble.
I was on vacation this week. I called you ripping that I thought I forgot the post time was earlier. I was ripping.
You know, we'll show the stat. Chad Brown's first time for a tag. They're just, you know what? This horse has issues, you know, he's been off the track a lot. What non-winners at 2 is this horse going to win? He's running where he belongs.
You know, I never, until I started sitting next to you, and this is not kissing up to Andy Serling hour. Until I started sitting next to you, I didn't think about things like that. I didn't. It just never dawned on me. What 2 other than is this horse winning?
Right. Well, you know, I remember years ago I said something about a horse on the show years ago about Kieran was dropping it in for a tag. And I said, I didn't really trust it. And Kieran texted me and he said, the horse is a 7-year-old gelding. Where am I supposed to run this horse? And the light bulb went off. Like, he was 100% right.
Yep.
It's like, you know, I think sometimes we're wise guys and handicappers and our always inclination when they're in for tag is, oh, there's something wrong with the horse. And it's like, these are trainers that are just being realistic.
And that's the beauty of the claiming game. The claiming game is, Andy and I are sitting here saying, what 2 other than can this horse win? Maybe somebody out there has $50,000 today and says, you know what? I can win a 2 other than with this horse.
The other thing is that Chad Brown has a bunch of 2 other thans in his barn that are better than this horse. So maybe somebody claims this horse and runs him somewhere. Or maybe they, listen, I don't think it's a bad claim for 50. I mean, people have done fine claiming horses from Chad Brown. They're in good shape.
Well, you know, you get right. You know, for them, they're in good shape.
I just, frankly, I'm not sure that Blackline isn't better. I think Blackline's a better horse. Blackline's last 2 races are very good. That horse, Jay Solitude, the one the race came back and ran a respectable
He's a minor stakes horse down there.
Isn't that? That's not the horse that ran the respectable 5th. I got another one. No, somebody else. But these are legit race horses. Those figures are high. They seem legit on paper, and I think the horse will be a little under bet because it's out of town. See, I think Spirit Animal will be favored. I know David's got him 5-2. I'm not sure. The question here is Channel Island. Look at this. What I don't get about this one is the mile. This horse, and I remember because Kirk Wyckoff and I are friendly at 3 Diamonds, and I remember when he won first time and David liked him, he started saying English Channel wants more distance, and he was right. They were both right. Now they're running at a mile. This smacks to me like, can we please get him out of our barn? Now, no one's going to claim for 50. He already ran for 52 back and didn't get claimed. But this horse getting up at a mile, this worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looks like it's a jumping off point for the year, right? Unless, like you said, you're trying to lose them. Either way, I don't think you're losing them. Right, I don't think you're losing them. So it's almost like you have a base on balls to get this horse.
Here's a race for him. Good point. You make a great point.
Thanks.
I don't know if it's a great point. It was.
What about Uhtred? I like Uhtred in here. You know,
I don't.
You look at Uhtred's form. Yeah. The first 3 races. Yeah. First 4 races. He might be another one who wants a little more ground as well.
I think the horses are. I think the 2 and 4 are better horses. I don't think Uhtred's impossible. Don't get me wrong. I think both the 2 and 4 are superior horses.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think it's huge, the gap.
Yeah, I don't either. And you know what though? The difference could be I could see Blackline and Spirit Animal being 2-1, 5-2 on a board, and Uhtred being 5-1 because I think Channel Island's going to take some money off the stakes races that he's running.
Yeah. What was Uhtred's excuse last time?
None. He didn't have one, but now he hasn't run in a while. You know, he's got a little. That was very good.
I'm on my game today.
He'll
nice night's sleep. It's all good.
I think he needed the break.
Nice walk from the train with Greg. We had a good time.
So I split horses to run you guys down in the parking lot.
You came in at the end, yeah. Race number 7's a fun one. They're on the turf going 6 furlongs in race 7. You and I flip-flopped. You've got the 8 Walrus Gumboot.
Yes.
Walrus Gumboot is from?
Come Together.
That's right. As is the
Juju
name.
Eyeballs. Yep. Remember her? She was nice. She was fast
okay.
filly.
She was okay.
7 for 16 overall, 4 for 7 on the turf, 140 dimes.
That is correct.
Ran well enough first time out.
140,000.
What did I say?
Dimes.
Oh, did I say dimes? It's dimes too. Remember, Marty wouldn't have minded me saying dimes. Anyway,
Their bodies.
You saw the tweet. That was great yesterday. Hearing Frank from across the water. Absolutely amazing.
I heard him on the subway platform the other day calling the Santa Anita Derby.
Sensational. They debuted this horse on dirt, and she ran well. He ran well, rather.
Yeah, I thought he ran very well.
Yeah,
because that's a race that completely fell apart, and this horse actually hung in pretty well. That was a good field.
4 lengths.
No, that was a good field.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I know they won with one yesterday. It was a very fortunate winner. I'm still worried about these horses they've taken over.
That horse got loose. That horse got loose on a lead, and nobody really.
Wesley Ward horse never got out in the
I
stretch.
finished second, third, fourth, and fifth in my pick 5 ticket.
Yeah, so I'm a little worried about that, and I like Scuttlebuzz. Scuttlebuzz ran very well first time out. This horse is a half to I think it's that Chad horse. It's a Chad Goichman horse in Saratoga that won my Heart Belongs to Daddy. The 10 is At My Heart, and the Factor is a good turf influence going shorter. I know this horse's first race was very, very good, and I prefer Scuttlebuzz in here. Just kind of got lost last time in a race that was dominated on the front end. And I wonder if Javier will get this horse a little more in the game of the turf. But I'm with you on the 8.
I think that's the key, and ultimately 6 furlongs.
The 8's going to be in front.
Yeah, the 8's going to be in front, and then this horse, first time out, she really didn't get away. Last time Scuttlebuzz had a little bit of an issue with the start. Got to get in the game earlier.
No, it's a fair point. There's a lot going on in this race. You've got On the Couch, third year. I've got fourth, and this horse is a half to one of my absolute favorite race horses. Them There also
Eyes.
My Dinah, and I love My
and
Dinah.
my Primo's scratched in here is out of My Dinah, so there was a little sibling, a little family
My Dinah
rivalry
was a
going
terrific
on.
horse.
Yeah,
and
she
think
was.
of the late Kate
great
Farron,
Kathleen
who was
Farron,
a very, very terrific trainer and one of my favorites.
She did a great job.
Them There Eyes, I love Them There Eyes.
She was nice.
Them There Eyes was a really cool horse.
Yadu
She was a
winner.
good nerve horse. So
She was a Yadu winner.
Was she? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I think I got a big price on her somewhere. What about the 5 Jack of Clubs, a horse that I have in the mix somewhere? This horse is a half to 2 turf winners that are pretty good, and she's not bad in the dirt. This horse could really take a step forward in here.
Yeah, Kelsey Danner did a good job on the circuit last year. Overall, good year so far this year. 14 wins, hitting at 17%. Yeah.
Good trainer. Yeah, I thought
they
the Jack
debuted
of
this
Clubs.
horse going. You know what I found curious? They debuted this horse in 2 races going long, 1 or 2 turns at Monmouth.
Well, it's a Curlin.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get fooled by the pedigree, and she came around pretty quickly with her. But now she's trying the surface that she's probably been meant to be on all along on the turf. So I thought she was interesting, and I think she'll be a fair enough price, but she's kind of short in the line. Race number 8. Race number 8 is one that I struggled with a great deal. I don't know about Sadie Lady. Anthony, I just don't know. She is the speed. I agree. I think she's a horse that either you really like in here or you're just against. And you and I took the opposite ends, but I'm not.
I thought long and hard about it.
I'm not confident I'm right here. I know David likes her too. I'll let you talk about her. She is the speed.
She is the speed. And there was a time when Nisha was Nisha, where she might not have been the speed, but Nisha's that day is come and gone. She's supposed to be gone in here on the front end. And last time, I remember it was funny. I walked out and I talked to Kendrick about that extra 16th of a mile, which she was able to negotiate last time.
He regrets that conversation, actually.
He does not
he told
at all.
me that
I think it was one and done that day.
Very bad.
One
and done? That was the what?
I think he was one and done. I think he was one and done for the afternoon.
And then he had to see you on the way out? I'm kidding. I love Anthony.
Anyway, Andy. She gets the little freshening now. Boy, she went to the bench. She was going good going to the bench.
This is a better field than anything.
It's the best field she's faced. Yeah, no question about it.
That's my concern. And
no
I think
question
people are going to
it.
see 3 straight wins, and those are the kind of horses I look to avoid. But see, the horse I don't particularly like here is Finding Fame. We'll take a look at her winning last time. And I know she got it done. And left in her wake was 4 Graces, who obviously didn't run a race. We want to go a mile. I think it's interesting. Did you think it's weird that Shug's turning back from a mile to 6.5 furlongs? I mean, I understand that Shug realized he'd love to run the Acorn, but Shug's being realistic. She's not winning the Acorn. It's a super, super tough race, and he wants to give her another shot. I'm not convinced.
Well, I'm going to say this.
Not fast.
They came home in 26 and change last time.
Gulfstream.
And I know her pedigree.
Gulfstream.
I know her pedigree says she wants to go long, but maybe she doesn't. Maybe he felt like off that race that she doesn't.
You don't think running a faster race in her second start, going longer is better than her slower race going shorter?
Do you think the second race was that much faster?
A little faster.
But she's also supposed to get a little faster with the experience.
I just don't know if she's that good. And I thought she'd get overbet because she's two for two and undefeated.
You said something about the Sadie lady. This is a better field, and this is the best field she's faced. But she's also catching some of these fillies, right? You like On Her Way. I've never really been a huge fan, but
I love On Her Way.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just thought that she'd be the fourth choice in here, and her best races can win this. That was ultimately I said. Listen, I'm not going to be shocked if the 1 wins. I'm not going to be shocked if the 8 wins. I'm not going to be shocked if the exacta right. I just didn't want to take either of these horses because I think they're going to be overbet and their races aren't that good.
I wasn't putting Sugar on top. Okay?
Does he know?
I was between the two actress horses because I think Fair Regis is a very interesting alternative here. Now, I know this is the next Jason Service horse, but she's kind of run well everywhere she's went.
She didn't particularly improve for Service.
She didn't. She's kind of run the same races.
That's why I thought she could win. She really didn't improve a lot for Jason, so she just sort of
You think this is one of my lunacies, but I've always been a big believer that she doesn't like running inside of horses. She's drawn well today. She's in the next to last gate. She's got a good setup. If Sadie Lady's not ready off the break and, it's just too tough for her, she's got to be one of the first ones to come calling on her, doesn't she?
Yeah, no, I think she's a perfectly logical horse in this race. I had a lot of trouble with this race, Anthony. I didn't make my picks until very, very late in the year. I don't have any confidence whatsoever at all. And that's why I picked On Her Way, because I thought the race was mostly between the 1, 6, 7, and 8. Mostly. Maybe the 2's improved. I didn't really like her, but maybe she's improved. And I just went to the 1 at the end of the day that I thought would be the best price. Nothing more than that.
Honey, I'm Good came back and ran well in the Harmony Lodge. When she won the Harmony Lodge, she chased her.
She chased her last time. Toby's done a good job with her.
She gets an extra 16th of off of the last race. The extra 16th of a mile could help her cause too. It's an interesting, another one. But it's a really fun card today. It's a tough.
Mike Lee's a tough race. How tough is the Mike Lee?
Yeah,
I know
very
you
tough.
picked the 3. I'm sure you did. I didn't even look at your picks, but there's no chance you didn't pick the 3 in here.
I had to.
Keep your Chad card. I mean, you picked a lot of
my
Chad horses.
Card's good,
we can go to race number 9 now, because I'm dying to see Anthony's picks, but I didn't have to look, and I knew he picked the 3. Let's start the conversation though with Dream Bigger. You went second, and I have third. Was a blow. I will say one thing: if he runs the Damon Runyon, he'll be tough. He has the controlling speed. Why do you pick him not on top?
Why did I not pick Dream Bigger on top? Well, I would think from the outside draw that Castellano and 3 jokers have to try to put some pressure on this horse today.
It's not fast enough. He's not even remotely.
You don't think this horse is fast enough?
He's not even remotely fast. The 4 gets left, he can put pressure on. The 4 is fast.
Don't you think it's got to be in Rudy's mind and Jose's mind, though, that
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you my issue with this horse.
The 7 furlongs?
No. Well, he won at 7 last time. My issue with this horse is he was sent down to Todd Pletcher in Florida. Now he's back in Rudy's barn. I don't know. Todd's been training in Florida. Wouldn't Todd want to have this horse in his barn?
I don't know if that was just
Todd was doing Rudy a favor.
Necessarily getting the horse out of New York, because if there was a race coming up, listen.
I'm not buying it.
He's a fast horse.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. He was sent down to Florida to either run. Why was he sent down to Florida? He was sent down to Florida to run or do whatever. He didn't run for Todd in Florida. Not running for Todd now. Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I'm making it up.
He was only in Florida for a month. He was only in Florida for a month.
He worked 4 times for Todd. Worked 4 times for Todd. That, maybe I'm wrong. That bothers me.
Okay.
That bothers me.
The 7-8. See, I know we won at 7 furlongs last time out. This horse, I think, is going to be better at a little shorter distances.
I agree with that.
And I think, I know you don't think it's possible, but I don't think this horse is going to come out of there blasting off. And I think if he lets a horse like 3 jokers,
only way he can win at 7 furlongs.
I don't disagree with that, but I don't know if that's the plan.
Oh, he'll be in front. He'll be in front unless he gets left. The 3 Gandy Dancing.
Gandy Dancing.
Oh, wait. Let's go to Captain Bombastic, actually.
Mr. Bombastic? Shaggy?
If Captain Bombastic runs cutting back, he's just better than these horses. And I understand. Jeremiah's been cold. But this horse has run well for him. Pneumatic almost beat Maxfield.
Yeah.
Pneumatic's probably a horse that gets a chance to get a piece of the Belmont Stakes.
Yep.
I don't know why this horse isn't. I just think he's the horse to beat in here. He's not.
Well, I'm going to ask you this question.
Cutting back in distance from 2 turns.
Let's
think he's way the horse to beat.
Strictly use his bio numbers in here.
He's faster than these.
He is, but look at how much better his mile and a 16th races are than
They were also his races as a 3-year-old, and he has every right to improve from 3 to 4.
But hold on, no. I'm not saying that. Even the race even the mile race here in the Sleepy Hollow.
Well, he didn't like the slop. I think arguably 3 races back, maybe.
He ran fine in the slop,
but
in
one
the
slop
Oakland
is
race.
not the same as another slop.
No, I understand
that,
but I don't know if I'm gonna buy an 18-point improvement from one course to another.
Okay, you don't like him. I do.
It's not that I don't like him.
I think cutting back in distance will be perfect for him, and I think he's the worst to beat. I just do. The problem with Gandy Dancing is he's not going to be the 9-2 morning line. That's the problem with him.
You don't think he's going to be 4-1?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Chad Brown?
They're going to see the open company races.
No,
I think Captain
they're going to see a
Bombastic
7-length win for Chad Brown. We'll take a look at that 7th-length win for Chad Brown, and I think he's going to be much shorter than David has. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't agree.
I thought he was going to be 4-1. I thought he was going to be right on the morning line. You know, the disagreement I had with David in here is I think Captain Bombastic's going to be the favorite. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, he may be right.
I think he's going to be
right.
the chalk in here, but, you know, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Like this horse's debut. I'm not so sure about Dream Bigger.
By the way, I'm not against this horse. I picked him second. I think he's very dangerous.
I'm not so sure about Dream Bigger really wanting the 7. I'm not so sure Captain Bombastic doesn't want to go longer. I kind of find
Anthony,
I find
the
my way to
problem with
him.
your going longer argument is that's the best kind of turn back, is a horse that actually is fine going longer. They're particularly good on turnbacks, and that's why that's why I think there's a fallacy in that argument.
But Anthony, sprint races aren't very fast.
But I'm going to tell you that data over time will argue your point on that one. You will lose that argument if you look at data going forward. See, I think the horse was a little weird in here and scary to price. I put him 5th. I could have worn this Mission wrap-up. I didn't put it up because I don't need to, put all these Chad Brown stats. Chad Brown trainer switches on the dirt is 11 for 26 with a 266 ROI. I don't know if Mission wrap-up is good enough, but wrap it up. But, he's a private purchase by Michael Dubb. I should have put him 4th,
If you take, and now this is getting...
I'm not leaving this horse out.
This is getting a little creative here, right? But if you take the races, you take the mile race and the races with the blinkers off of his card, what's wrong with his sprint form?
Well, they're too slow to win this race, but it's still an interesting private purchase by Mike Dubb that's going to Chad Brown. That's the point of this horse. He's not good enough to win on paper, period. He's going to have to improve substantially.
And he's probably going to need some help up front.
Are you going to tell me City Man can't win?
No.
I mean, if you're going to make the argument that you don't think the 6 wants to go short,
City Man does not want to go
shorter,
long.
right?
Yeah, no question about that. Yeah, I got him 3rd. I got him 4th. Again, listen, like I said,
why can't he improve?
Beating
He hasn't run in a while.
It's a fun card today.
I don't even think 3 jokers is impossible in this race.
He's not.
I mean, honestly, I don't particularly like Bourbon Bay, though he's got races to give him a chance, and I don't like Listen to Your Heart. But I think everybody else could win. Yesterday,
it's kind of like the feature. Yeah, this is kind of like the feature yesterday.
One horse that couldn't win yesterday's feature. She's a Julie, and she won.
He ran her back in 3 weeks. He had never run her in less than a month.
I just figured he was coming here and taking a shot. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Whatever it was, it worked out.
You could bet your bottom dollar at the 16th pole when I knew Point of Honor wasn't getting by. That's what just kept ringing in my head. Made the case for her before we went to the last race yesterday. Before we went to the last race,
she was a little tough to make.
Yeah, she was.
That's
a fun race. Listen, there's a lot of good races on this card today.
I always love the Mike Lee. It's always one of my favorite races. I always like. Comes up a good race. That and the Bowery. The Bowery must be coming up soon too, right? Because we don't have those. New
I think
York
the Bowery
days.
is the 28th.
Okay, so the last race is a battle between Chantry Flats and Shooting the Breeze dropping down. We'll take a look at Chantry Flats. This is not a great drop down. But once again, because she ran poorly in this race against Spirit Animal, he could bury this field, though. He's the horse to beat. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, though. When he broke his maiden, man, he got a perfect trip. That horse got loose in front of him. He just sat there. Yeah, he just sat there, right? I mean, look at this. He's looking to lug in when he goes by the horse on the lead. He's another horse.
Run a lot of fast figures, though.
Yeah, I know he does. He's another horse, though. Would you be surprised if he doesn't want to go a little longer, maybe? I mean,
Anthony broke his maiden a mile.
I know he did, but look at the setup he had.
Anthony, he broke his maiden a mile.
Come on,
Anthony.
Andy.
He broke his maiden a mile with the best speed figure he's ever gotten. So whether or not he can be effective going longer is completely irrelevant. You've got to get away from that stuff.
I'm just saying he might be a little bit. Listen,
I'm trying to help you.
I'm going to tell you right now.
No, he may have an advantage over some horses because he can go longer. But the best race he ever ran from a speed figure standpoint was going a mile. So no, I don't agree with you.
Do you think that was the best race he ever ran?
Yes.
You think that's the best race he ever ran?
Yes.
You don't think the Mini P race was better?
Yeah, no.
And the hierarchy race better?
No.
I completely disagree.
I don't think there's a big margin of difference, but he's perfectly effective going a mile. If he loses this race today, it's not because the mile distance. You can't really think that if he loses this race today, it's because the race was a mile.
I think that off this long of a break, I think it's part of the reason.
I think you're going off into a rest stop for no reason. You're just taking a stop.
Could he have gotten a better trip than the day he broke his maiden?
I don't know.
That's my point.
Isn't he going to get a similar trip today, stalking or on the lead in a moderate pace? What trip do you have here for him that puts him behind the 8 ball?
We both have Shooting the Breeze on top, and we both put this horse in the mix.
I think the point I'm saying is these are distractions. They're just
I don't agree. Listen,
Anthony,
we're going to disagree about this horse.
You think this horse loses today? It'll be because it was a mile and not a mile and a quarter.
No, I think it's one of the reasons.
No, it's not possible. It's just not even. Anthony, it doesn't make sense.
How are you? You're trying to pinpoint the one reason a horse is going to lose a horse race?
No,
you know how many reasons there are that horses lose races?
Anthony, that's not the point. He's the horse to beat on paper. The question with him is, how much do you trust him off a 7-month layoff now? No.
You can't trust any of them.
Wait a minute. I think you can. He's the one whose form towers over the field in a lot of ways, but he's dropping in for 40. He's a 5-year-old who's got issues, and Michelle's had enough. But maybe that's a question thing, too. But if you think the real reason he'll lose this race because of a mile, when he's actually the speed on paper, how does that make sense?
I think it's one of the reasons.
Based on what?
I think
Based on
a combination of the layoff and the biggest thing here, obviously.
The layoff, he should go a mile.
The biggest thing,
he should go a mile
obviously.
and a quarter of a layoff.
No. My point is, I don't think this is an optimal. This is an ideal situation for him today. I want to try and beat this horse at a short price today.
I had PPs that I handicapped off of. I don't know. Okay, I just you and I are on a completely different planet.
Well, the problem I have here is I think both of the favorites are very, very suspect in here.
Of course they are. Shooting the Breeze never wins.
I mean, I loved this horse last time. He was awful.
Okay, let me say something. First of all, everybody loved him, so he couldn't win last time, including me. He got a ridiculous trip. It was a slow-paced race.
It was a slow-paced race.
It was dominated on the front end, a slow-paced race, and he was just completely out of position at every single point in the race after not particularly getting out quickly, and so he had absolutely no chance.
But he didn't run, he didn't run two steps, Andy.
Because he had an absolute no-shot trip, so on that one.
I disagree with that.
I
disagree with that.
I
agree with everything you said. I agree with everything you said. I agree that he had a no-chance trip. But I
don't care.
He didn't do a step.
Graham is dropping him because he's sick and tired of him because he never wins. He runs his race 2 races back. He will be very tough to beat unless Chantry Flat runs his best race. I just took him as the alternative as the other horse in here. I think there's an interesting horse in here. The one Reckless Spirit. I thought this horse was very interesting going to Jimmy Bond, and I am absolutely using this horse first time Jimmy Bond. He's 5 for 13 on trainer switches with almost a $7 ROI, 2 for 5 on the turf, with like a $9 ROI. I think this is the kind of horse, Reckless Spirit, on 2 untrustworthy horses. He is my alternative because, frankly, you can have Albie. He just doesn't do any running.
I'll be closing my pick 5 to 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 12. I'm using 6 of them. I couldn't make heads or tails of this race. I don't trust the favorites at all.
The North Remembers will be on your ticket. Dominic Scatino should pay at least half of whatever it cost you to throw him in because of your loyalty to him. He's got about as much chance to win this race as you and I in a horseshoe.
What's wrong with his race? What's wrong with his last 2 races?
They're so slow relative to this field that he's
hold on
not
a
even
second.
competitive.
Take the 2 favorites out of the race. What's wrong with his last 2 races?
He's not good enough to win. Albie will beat him. Albie will beat him. Quiet out East
I think if you take the 2 chalks out of the race, the rest of them look the same. For the most part.
Okay. Well, at least we almost made it through the show without having a massive disagreement.
Finale.
Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, did I forget this on the top of the show? We did. You're supposed to remind me, Anthony. That's what you're here
listen,
for.
it's hard for me to stop you when the train gets going. You got to get on and you got to try and smash the doors open.
You make a great point.
I know I do.
$200. We'll match him at $200 at a free $25 play. Join Naira Bets. Head on over. Use Belmont 25. We had a bonus at Woodbine today, I want to say. 10 times points at Woodbine today. Sundays, they opened last week, right?
Yeah, they're open Thursdays. They have a 3:45 post, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they go off at 1.
You been to Woodbine? Are
I
you
have
allowed
never.
in Canada?
I think the problem is
HRRN
goes to cover the Queen's Plate every year. I don't know if they're worried I'm not going to get in or get back home.
Well, I'd be worried you wouldn't get home. I wouldn't be worried
Thanks,
about you getting
Andy.
in.
Would you send bail money?
I'd come get you. I went to the Dead in Niagara.
That would be the greatest road trip of all time.
I went to see the Dead in Niagara Falls, and there's the walking bridge across to Canada, the Canadian side. I remember thinking how many deadheads could be stuck on that bridge
forever.
In, what do they call it, purgatory, basically, forever.
Limbo.
Anyway, he's sitting in limbo. Anyhow, Johnny I, the voice of New York racing, up with the reprise, the scratches and changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. And it's a glorious Sunday here at Belmont. The temperature in the 70s. Main track is fast, and the turf courses are firm. The portable rail up at 27 feet on both the Widener and the inner. There's a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of more than $96,000. In today's first race, we have these overweights. Note that these horses will carry 2 pounds over. Numbers 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, and 9. In the second race, a couple of scratches there. Scratch 8, Exceed the Goal, and 10, Miss Jack. Second race, scratch numbers 8 and 10. No changes in the third. In the fourth race, and these horses will carry 2 pounds over, numbers 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 10, and 11. Number 12, Roma Carpe, is 4 pounds over. Scratch the also eligibles 13, 14, and 15.